Hi, everyone. I'm Anna Astori, software engineer and director of Women Who Code Boston Network. And today we have Christine Blyth from Block with us. Christine Blyth is the head of business advisory and technology for Block. Christine is a CPA accountant who specializes in transformation in the technology sector. As the head of business advisory and technology for Block, Christine leads the advisory, technology, engineering, and data analytics teams. Paving a career in the male-dominated technology industry, Christine is passionate about diversity and inclusion, particularly when it comes to creating opportunities for women. Hi, Christine. Thank you for finding time to talk with us about your career path.
Thank you, Anna. Excited to be here.
Yeah. Can you tell us more about your career journey?
Sure. My career journey hasn't been conventional. I actually started in psychology. My first degree is in psychology. Always been fascinated by people, but I got to the end of that degree and realised clinical psychology just wasn't for me. I then took an almost opposite direction. I did an accounting degree part-time while working as a tax accountant in a mid-tier firm. After my degree, I took my first accounting role in industry, which was then working for Australia's biggest telco, where I held various roles over 7 to 8 years. I loved my time at Telstra, but I wanted more of a challenge, and transformation was just becoming a thing. So I decided to give it a go. Since then, I've held various transformation roles in companies of varying sizes, but largely within the tech industry. One of my roles was a CFO of a professional services company, which led a large-scale transformation for British Telecom in London. In 1998, I was approached by Luke Vitale, who was the then CFO of Afterpay, to lead Afterpay's operational excellence team, which largely focused on scaling the back office globally and across multiple different products. I finally joined Block as part of the Afterpay acquisition last year and was asked to lead business technology and enterprise engineering in addition to my operational excellence team.
That's amazing. It is indeed unconventional. And what does your job entail day to day?
The business advisory part of my role focuses on strategic transformation across a number of different teams inside Block, so accounting, finance, tax, treasury, and procurement. The team is largely composed and focused on management consulting. We've got some transformation specialists, product managers, technologists, and business analysts. The technology part of my team manages the back of house technologies, data and product engineering, and our BI platforms. And look, leading such a diverse team for a company that moves so quickly, no one day is ever the same. My role is all about enablement of my team, as well as always looking forward to make sure our company can scale.
Makes sense. And as someone who manages multiple teams, what advice do you have for women technologists who are considering senior management roles?
Look, firstly and foremost, don't doubt yourself. I feel that women tend to hold back and can be quite self-critical compared to men. The women technologists and engineers in my team are so extremely talented. Yet I see them doubt themselves, and especially when they're showcasing their wins, they tend to hold back. And look, I've seen this throughout my career. It's not just a Block. Women tend to be less forward in putting themselves up for promotion. They're less likely than men to take risks, and they tend to only go for roles when they feel confident they can do most of the role. And this has meant that I've seen really talented women hold themselves back while less experienced and talented men get the roles. You know, we hear about imposter syndrome and it's real, and I find it disproportionately in women than men. Look, second is be your authentic self. The unique parts of who you are, it's part of your success. And being authentic, it builds trust because people know what to expect from you. I've worked with so many different female leaders that feel they can't be themselves, and leaders that have adopted more masculine traits, and it really hasn't served them in the longer term. Look, thirdly, find a great mentor. They're fantastic for all executives, but especially as a woman in tech, it's even more important to have somebody you can bounce ideas off. And be a great role model. It's hard to imagine yourself in a career that you can't see. And when we think of tech, we tend to conjure up a male image, and it gets much, much harder as you progress into leadership. It can be quite lonely as there's fewer women. We really need to challenge the male image of tech and attract more women.
Yeah, yes to that. In the work you do, it's important that your teams be diverse and inclusive. How do you integrate diversity, equity, and inclusion into your teams?
Great question. Having a diverse workforce is critical to one of any company's success, and we know from research that diverse teams, they solve problems better. They're more innovative, and it's based on those multiple perspectives that comes from developing a team with varying backgrounds, cultures, and experience. But my experience is that diversity does come naturally, especially in tech. So we have to be really deliberate and keep it at the forefront of all of our decisions. For me, it means keeping in mind the natural biases that women tend to have when I'm having conversations about performance and promotions. Diversity also plays a big role when recruiting. I'm so deliberate with recruitment, and I'm constantly challenging my hiring managers to ensure that we're hiring people from diverse backgrounds, as well as, of course, leaning towards hiring women. And I also get involved in women's forums, both internal and external to Block, and this is one of them. And I coach and mentor emerging female leaders as well.
That's awesome. And how can women technologists use their expertise and translate it into innovative strategies for career growth?
Look, as we progress through our career, we move from being a deep subject matter expert in delivery into leadership. The focus has to change, has to move to a more strategic focus. And it's a fundamental shift that I've watched many, both men and women, not just women, struggle with. But I do think women tend to find the transition harder for the reasons that we've already spoken about. Men are more open to taking risks. Women tend to want everything in place before they commit. And women tend to be more self-critical. Also, as we go up in our career and move into leadership, we also need to get comfortable with directing others and setting a vision. And I've really seen women struggle with this. They tend to be less comfortable being assertive and being authentic. But if you're progressing through your career, it's because you've earned it. So just keep that in mind.
Yeah. How can women navigate change management at every level of their career?
I actually speak to my team a lot about this. The ability to deal with ambiguity and change can be a key differentiator in your career. We see it in the corporate landscape, right? It's changed where companies that move fastest and adapt readily are the most successful. And it's the same as a professional individual. The most successful people I know adapt to change readily, they take measured risks, and they're resilient. But if I think about some of the ways that I deal with change, I'm naturally curious and always seek to understand why, and I'm open to a new perspective. I try to avoid making assumptions and instead just ask loads of questions and listen. I focus on the opportunities that change brings rather than allowing myself to dwell on any of the negatives or the challenges that I see. And if I'm not feeling positive about a change, I test my perspective. I've got some great colleagues that I trust, and if I'm feeling not so great, I have a conversation with them, and generally they'll open up my perspective, or they'll just highlight where I might be a bit narrow in my thinking. And I also try not to focus what's not immediately in my control. I can't worry about things that aren't in my control. It's just not a good use of emotional energy.
Yeah, I love your approach. What are you passionate about outside of work?
Outside of work, I am mum to 15-year-old Cooper, he's the centre of my world, and I try and spend as much time as possible with him away from the laptop. Cooper is actually high-functioning autism, and so I'm really passionate about neurodiversity as I am about gender diversity. And I get involved in a lot of various organisations to try and promote better awareness and understanding of people that are non-neurotypical. I also play the piano. It's a great type of meditation for me, and pretty much anything outdoors. I love mountain bike riding, hiking, running. And look, finally, I love traveling, and I've been really lucky in my career to have global roles where I can travel the world. And as hard as it is with such a big role, I try and just find gaps or try and add some days on at the end of travel to do something new and visit somewhere new.
That's amazing. I love that. And what pro tip would you give women in tech?
Believe in yourself. And I have to check in with myself on this all the time. You have a seat at the table, take it. Don't be afraid to speak up and share your knowledge and share your opinion. And be prepared to take risks. Don't put fear of failure first, because failure is part of growing. Also help other women. Be willing to promote and reward and highlight the work of other women. And this is going to be so much more important when you get into a leadership position, when you have influence over who is hired, who is promoted. We do want the best people in the job, but keep in mind the biases that women tend to have compared to men, and look for opportunities to test those biases.
Amazing. Christine, thank you so much for speaking with us today. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you, Anna. Really appreciated the time.